Good evening, everyone. Oh, I am a massive screen. Thank you, Tom. Did not know that. Welcome to ESC Fan TV. I'm your host, Elliot. And as you can see, tonight, the national finals are done, but that means we're moving straight into our song reviews, and we are looking at 6 of the 7 songs in the first half of semi-final 1 tonight. Of course, I'm not alone, otherwise that would be a very boring show if I just gave my opinions. So let's see who else we've got on the panel today. If my lovely assistant will now get my giant face off the screen. There we go. And to my stage right, who's in charge of all the buttons and just gave me that lovely close-up of my own face, it's Tom.
Do you know what? I've never been so tempted to remove everyone from StreamYard when you said you're not alone, just because it would have been funny. Oh, good evening. Yeah, looking forward to this. First set of reviews, listening to the shows and everything. Looking forward to having japes and gigglery. Is gigglery a word? Don't know, Mo. Don't ask me. I'm only a teacher.
Is japes a word?
Japes is fun and japes and japery.
Just showing your age there, Tom. Moving swiftly on, we're going to move up to Scotland where we have Donna.
Hello all. Oh yeah, I'm sure japes and japery are words. Definitely.
Showing my age,
and
I'm
I'm
one of the
old as
youngest
well.
ones here.
Yes, looking forward to this one, guys. Lots of my favourites in this one. So.
Yay! That's always handy. Like we've got someone who likes the bulk of these songs. It makes it a tiny bit more positive and not something like a bunch of miseries. Directly below me, we have Sean. How are you, Sean, this evening?
Yeah, all good, thanks. I just hope my internet will keep holding up because I'm in the middle of nowhere and it seems to be a bit hit and miss tonight. So hopefully we'll get through it. But looking forward to this.
Good. We'll keep an eye on that and hopefully we won't have too many issues between now and the end of our show. Underneath Tom, we see we have from ESC Bubble, we have Matt. How are you, Matt? Welcome back as always.
I'm good, thank you, Elliot. Loving the jumper.
Thank you. I was inspired by Brooke. What can I say? And finally, a bit of a super sub edition last up, but always grateful to have them. The king and queen of ESC Fan TV. We have Phil and Michelle. How are you both?
It's Mother's Day and I'm a mother and I'm doing this.
Hello?
You're our mother, though. You have to look after us. That's the problem. We can't be trusted.
Yeah. My son came round, gave me a bottle of gin and went. He knows that's exactly what I want for Mother's Day.
Bring booze and leave.
Yeah, bring booze and leave.
Fantastic. So as I said, we're talking about 6 of the 7 songs in semi-final 1, the first half. We're not talking about Portugal tonight, mainly because we did speak about Mimi Cat last week, so we're just giving a little break on that. But to be honest, we normally have a running order of sorts. I couldn't be bothered to figure one out today, to be honest. So instead, we have the wheel that will decide for us what song we're going to talk about first. And so without further ado, I'm just going to spin said wheel and see what happens. And yes, this is me being lazy. This is a bit more fun and camp because who doesn't love that? And the first country tonight is Latvia. Whee! Get rid of you. So, first song up for the discussion tonight, as I said, is Latvia. And they'll be represented by Southern Lights with the song Aja or Aja. I don't know how you fully say that. I can't speak Latvian. 1 supernova, heading off to Liverpool. Donna, let's start with you. Quite a interesting sound, waltzing sort of melody, Brit poppy sort of sound going on there. What do you make of this entry?
Honestly, first impressions, I found it a bit difficult to listen to, particularly from the beginning, because they start off so raw with that almost click track beat going on. It's very electro synth drum beat going on that's really fast, and then the raw vocal going on. If you've not heard this track, you'll no idea what I mean. But yeah, it can be a bit difficult because they almost sound off and fighting against each other. But then as soon as the chorus kicks in, it brings it all together. And he's got a great vocal, the lead singer. I think this could do well. It can be a hit and miss at the beginning. So I'm hoping that will be enough to make people slightly confused but want to listen more and then draw it in. But yeah, I like it.
Hey, it's a great start there. Matt, let's come to you. As you said, established in 2012. They tried for Supernova in 2018 and came second. This time they've gone outright, winning the televote and the jury. What do you see can work in this favour? Because obviously, as we can see this evening, there's quite a few bands in Eurovision this year, more so than previous years. So how can this band and country stand out this year?
I think if they want to stand out, I think they need to have a bit of a revamp, maybe change it. I really like the chorus. I really think the chorus stands out. But yeah, just the start, I just found it quite strange. I just sort of thought, where is this going? I found it very sort of British sounding, which I just don't think that really works in Eurovision when you have one country that sound as though they come from another country. So yeah, I think for Latvia to do well, they really need to have a bit of a revamp. This could go either way. For me, it's a real borderline qualifier. Yeah, I think keep the chorus, but the other bits, like particularly the start, I think they need to change that, make it better, make it stand out more. And I think if they make improvements, they might just qualify.
Brilliant, thank you much. Sean, let's come to you. As you said, they're in the first half. As I said, there's only 15 songs in the semi-final. So mathematically the odds are there, but also Latvia haven't qualified since 2016 for the final. They have one of the worst running streaks in the contest. I think only Georgia is worse than them so far for non-qualification. Can this song do it? Can they finally get back into that final?
I think so. I hope so. I actually quite like this. It's really nice. A really nice song. The chorus is beautiful. It's kind of meant, like the graphics are on screen. The purpose of being a lullaby, it kind of means like shush. Or like Hush Baby. I think the idea of the song is that there's so many crappy things going on around the world at the moment. It's supposed to be like a distraction for all those issues. And I just think it really works well. It's a nice, it kind of goes ballady, soft rocky, and it does sound quite British. I agree with what you said there, Matt. But I actually think it'll do really, really well. It's got a really memorable chorus. I think people will I'll remember it and vote for it on the night. I really do. I think it's nice. I like it.
Amazing, thank you. Phil and Michelle, it's come to you. So the song isn't bonkers, but the music video is a bit bonkers. It's a little bit cultish, I'm not going to lie. And at the end, they're starting to give the lead singer as a bit of a wash. No idea why. And then there's swimming pool with no water. It makes no sense to me. Are you kind of hoping they do that on stage just so then it stands out as a bit of bonkers and you love a bit of bonkers?
Yes. I think I'd just like to start off by saying that Matt is deluded. And that this is one of my favourites. I love the trip hoppy sort of start, disjointed start to it. It sort of grabs you and you think, oh, and then it sort of settles down a bit. I really, really like this. But I think on stage they need to be washing this bloke, carrying him above the head so he's dripping on everything. You know, why not? You're going to remember it. You're going to. I think this is definitely, without a doubt, a quali.
This is one of the ones that I don't know whether I like it or not. Almost when I first heard it, I thought it sounds like he's singing one song to the wrong backing song track. You know, but it does sort of work. I think it needs some decent staging, definitely.
But I don't think the song needs changing, though.
Oh, no, I wouldn't change it.
No, I'd leave it.
But I think it needs some sort of performance to sort of bring it forward, you know, and like the music video, something a bit off the wall and unusual to grab people's attention.
That absolutely makes no sense, no correlation to the song, nothing like that. That's what we want. We want just full out bonkers.
Who doesn't like full out bonkers? Yeah, I must admit, I'm actually quite a fan of this. I must admit, like when I first heard it, I didn't watch Supernova, so when I went back and listened to it after Super Saturn, I just heard that raw beginning. I was like, oh, where's this kind of going? This is a bit odd. And I must admit, I don't love that like click tracker through the entire song because then it does sound a little bit disjointed if you start to notice it a bit too much. But I do love like the Viennese Falls melody over the top of it. It makes it really easy to listen to. And listening to their previous work, this is very in line with Southern Lights. They do this sort of like lo-fi, almost background coffee house sort of music, which I think will really work. The only drawback I think is it's going in the first half, and we've got some big songs coming in the second half. But if they put it as late as possible in the first half, I think it still can do well. But yeah, I like it. I would put this through to the final. I was pleasantly surprised by Latvia this year. I think this is a really good, melancholy, sweet song. The fans don't fully agree. So it's currently in the mid. And all this data I've got is from the My Eurovision Scoreboard app from this morning. So currently Latvia 18th and they're 10th in the semi-final on the votes. So the fans have it, as Matt said, on that borderline of qualifying. Tom, would you put this through as one of your top 10? And what are the chat rooms saying?
See, I kind of wrote down tuneless and face massage, all my comments that I put down for this. And people may wonder why. And it's because I think in the music video, they try to kind of drown the singer, which may or may not be a blessing. I mean, the song is totally nuts. I think it's a borderline qualifier, not by virtue of the quality of the song, but by virtue of the fact there are so many or so few songs in the semi-final to get through. So the odds of qualifying are actually higher than other years. However, I mean, there are some positive points. I quite, it's got a bit of a bonkers theme to it. The guy can sing. This is really good. The chat room reckons, Little John reckons the lead singer sings like Reina's Kalpers. Obviously, he was the singer of Latvia's first entry. That was My Start in 2000. Dan says, brilliant track, very Radiohead at the start, one to qualify, whereas Lee says, won't qualify. People have said it's a grower. Anya says it's a grower. The trouble is with growing songs, when the most people that are hearing these songs hear them for the first time ever on the Eurovision stage, it hasn't got time really for it to grow. And David reckons it's now heading between 11th and 20th in his placements. We've got visually one of the best videos this season, 9th place in the semi-final. The chat room is awash with people. Martin's got a 4th in semi-final 1. And can we give a big thanks to Lee, who has donated £10 to the channel. Hey, love you.
Thank you, Lee. Very kind gesture. I don't know what we'll do with that money. Probably buy a drink. I don't know. Or a bottle.
No, probably pay for StreamYard for a month, because that's what it'll do.
Yeah, probably. But we're grateful all the same. Thank you, Lee. Last question to the panel. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you see this qualifying in May? 3, 2, 1. Show of hands. Oh, real split here. So we've got 1, 2, 3. 3 saying yes, 2 say no, and 1's in the middle. Oh, see. And I guess this is, if it qualifies, it probably could be a borderline. So safe to say, like the chat room, we're not sure on Latvia's chances, but we're hopeful. So good luck, Sunlight. All the best in May. We'll see what happens, I guess. But now, back to the Wheel of Fortune, my favourite part. We're going to see which is the second song I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm enjoying this, I'm sorry, guys. But who doesn't
Some
love a bit of
people are
stupid
so
camping?
easily pleased.
I'm a giant child. I do not discredit that at all. And we're off to
Can I buy a vowel, please? Can I buy a vowel?
No, Carol.
Hang on. You never played Serbia in our rundown before the show.
You should have known beforehand. But no, I didn't. I realised I missed one off. Anyway. Serbia.
Tom's panicking.
Yes.
I think we should go to Tom first on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, Tom, what's your views on Serbia?
Let me do the intro first, and then I'll go to Tom.
Okay, that's fine. I'm up for this challenge.
So Serbia will be represented by Luke Black with the song Samo Mrs. Father, which translates to I Just Want to Sleep. A selection I'm not going to try and announce. It's not Beovizia, it's a different one. 30 years old. He's quite a known name in Serbia. He's someone who's been talked about in the past representing them, and when the names came out, he was definitely one of the standout names. Quite an interesting stage and quite an interesting personality, I think it's safe to say. I am going to come to Tom first because Tom was at Melfest last week and actually heard this song live. So Tom, what do you make of the Serbian entry?
Well, it's a bit strange, isn't it? I mean, let's face it. I mean, if we look at the national final performance, I mean, he starts laying in some kind of like icy hammock type thing, which is a bit bizarre. But you know what? It's got a nice kind of, it's almost like a dark rock / indie kind of vibe to it, which I quite like. I think the guy's got a lot of charisma, a lot of personality. And you know what? I would expect Serbia to do quite well in semi-final 1 this time round, because I think it's actually going to get a number of votes, because it kind of appeals to that. It's kind of off mainstream, but not so far off the beaten track that it's not going to alienate voters. And so I reckon it's going to do quite well. And no, I don't have the song playing in my headphones in the background whilst I'm doing this.
Nice.
Never thought you would. Sure, let's come to you next. As I said, he's a character. Very interesting staging. Even his promo picture, he had a lobster. I still don't know why their lobster was there, but he had a lobster.
It's his
But
friend.
can he not find a human friend? Why has it got to be a crustacean?
Probably not, actually, no.
Anyway, Serbia's chances. What do you make? Like I said, it's quite an interesting song, but I can definitely see this one that polarizes people. Some go, "Yeah, this isn't too bad," and other people going, "What the holy shit is this?" So, what do you feel about this song?
Well, I absolutely love it. He is as mad as a box of frogs. He's crazy. I met him. He's very charismatic. He's really charming. He's really interested in what the fans wanted to say to him and wanted to ask him and stuff. And when he went up and performed the song, he was on stage with his plastic lobster. Just absolutely crazy. He composed the song himself. He wrote it himself. He wrote it a couple of years, I think he said about 4 years ago. And he kept hold of it for a while. And then when he saw Constrict to do her thing last year, he thought, right, I can enter this to Eurovision. Because it's not as crazy as that one, maybe. But it's got a great beat to it. It's really entertaining to watch. It's in my top 10 this year, without a shadow of a doubt. I think it's a really good, strong entry. And yeah, I think it's really good. And it's like I say, it says, I just want to sleep, which is what the title translates as, which is quite up because he seemed to be wearing his pajamas at the meet and greet. He was definitely wearing his pajamas at the meet and greet, big baggy pants and a big baggy top.
But yeah, just wants to be comfy. I see no problem with that for a meet and greet. Stood there for hours. You just want to be comfy.
I know, yeah. And the lobster, yeah. Well, why not?
It's still not the weirdest thing we've seen on the Eurovision stage, and that's saying something. So I just want to throw up this comment of Hitari meets Lady Gaga. Now, Vanya, I'm not sure in what world or paradise that lives in, but I don't want to go there. I know that much. Phil, Michelle, as I said, this is a bit bonkers on stage. The background's got a mask on. He's in like some sort of like thing at the start. There's a lot going on visually. But do you think this can actually go through? Because Serbia are at a slight disadvantage. A lot of their friends in Eurovision aren't competing this year. And in a pure televote semi-final, that could prove a roadblock for Luke.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I like this one. I thought the staging looked like some low-budget BBC sci-fi series from the 1970s, you know, like Blake Seven or something.
There's one for the youth.
But yeah, this is odd, but in a good way.
It's a bit like you.
Well, there you go. I'll take that. That's not bad.
This is my number one for the whole thing. This is my number one. I can't stop listening to it. There's just something about it that I really, really like. And he is mad as a box of frogs. And that's brilliant because I think there's a fine line between nut job and genius. And I'm not sure which one he is yet, but we'll find out, won't we, in the first semi-final. But this is my absolute favourite. It's an easy quali, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, high pricing for the Michelle there as well. And so we found Michelle's winner for the year. Honestly, not who I thought you were going to go for, to be honest, Michelle. I had a different song in mind, but I digress. Matt, obviously, Phil and Michelle, very confident this will qualify. Do you share the same sentiment? Obviously, Constructor last year, everyone was like, will this work? This is a bit bonkers. And she kind of stormed to a top 5 televote result in the end. Do you see Luke being quite polarizing, a bit odd, having the same effect?
Yeah, definitely. I think to qualify, you need to be unique. You need to be different. And yeah, this really is different. And I think that if Serbia keeps this up, I really think that in a few years' time, we might even see like a Serbian win. I'm really impressed with the national final, the one they had this year. I think they had so many different unique songs. And I think with this like sci-fi look, I think it's going to really stand out. I think it's a really good song. So yeah, I think this will qualify.
I just put myself on mute there. That's a bit silly of me. Just as I was going to say, Donna, The interesting thing to talk about, Luke, is that he didn't actually win the televote or the jury in his national final. He placed second in both, but the discrepancy between the other two gave him the win marginally, and a lot of people were kind of like raising their eyebrows at that. Obviously, he is the one that's going, but does it matter that he didn't win either? Because at the end of the day, it's not the Serbians he needs to impress come May. And remember, Salvador Sobral didn't win his televote, but he then went on to win Eurovision at a breeze.
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll matter, honestly, because as we've already kind of covered, there's a lot going on visually there that's enough to kind of draw people in, I think. Certainly he performs well, he's crazy enough, his vocal is solid. I love this song, and I'm surprised how well it's been received actually so far. But Serbia are champion last year, Serbia I'm definitely going to be championing this year. It's very dystopian, and I think, like Little John had said in the chat earlier on, it does remind me a lot of Gary Newman, Japan, that kind of slightly discordant industrial 80s. There's something there for everybody, really, and although the lyrics are very bleak, I think there's still a bit of positivity somehow in there. But no, I think he'll do well. It's like Mahmood didn't really actually sort of totally win by any stretch of the imagination, but he seemed to get enough of a vote to overall win. So I think Luke could do something similar.
Brilliant. And just lastly, I just want to say this. Tracy saying it really reminds him, Ben with Paul Oscar, that there's a vision for you. Let's hope he doesn't have the same trousers. And I just want to say,
let him have the same trousers. Yeah, let him have the same trousers.
Oh no, please.
Let's not. And Vanya calling Michelle a queen. Well, we knew that already. And everyone's just being a lot of love for Serbia in the chat. Apart from Lee, who says Serbia won't make the final. So there's still a little bit of uncertainty of whether he will make the final or it will be game over in the semi-final. But let's see what our panel thinks. 3, 2, 1. Will Serbia be in the grand final? Cast your votes now. Hi, all. It's a whitewash, so we all think Serbia will be one of the 10 in the first semi-final. Let's see what happens, because I know a lot of people are saying that the second half is where all the big hitters and all the qualifiers are going to come from. I'm not so sure, but we'll talk about that another week. But we go back to the Wheel of Fortune. Again, I'm enjoying this far too much. But as I said, I'm a giant child. And the next song is Norway.
Oh.
So, one of the first songs that was selected of the year, Alessandra, Queen of Kings. Obviously, she competed in MGP, opened the show in the first semi-final, and then closed the final, winning the jury and the televote at quite a commanding lead, beating out the likes of Ulrike, Elsie Bay, and others. Now, obviously, the song has done very well since. It has gone viral on social media, and she's just having a lovely time, I think, with it all, to be honest. 20-year-old girl originally born and raised in Italy and only moved to Norway 2 years ago, but has a Norwegian mother. There was a lot of love and hype for this song when it first came out and when it won MGP. It's calmed down a little bit now. Matt, given its success on social media and in the charts, can we see this as a realistic contender for that trophy in May?
Yeah, definitely. It seems to be doing, as you say, really well in the charts, really well online as well. And yeah, I think this could do really well. It's a song that's quite unique. It's a song that really stands out. I think she's a really good performer as well. She seems to be having a really good time. It grabs your attention. And yeah, I think this could definitely qualify. And I think in the final, this could be, I think, maybe Norway's best result since 2009, I think.
Wow, so very high praise there indeed. Donna, do you think, like, obviously in MGP, she was in the cape, the crown, and the 4 backing dancers who were shirtless with lights? I wasn't complaining. Do you anticipate much of a change from the stage from MGP to Liverpool?
No, not really. I don't think she'll need to do much to that at all. And honestly, I think they've got a good thing there. She's the focus. That's what they mainly need to do. Give it a bit of nice lighting and a bit of low fog, and I think we're good. The one thing I would like is for her voice to be a bit more solid. When I saw her perform in Sweden, I know she was just having fun with it and things like that, but I was a bit concerned at times that her voice wouldn't necessarily hold out. And that's the one thing that's going to make or break it, obviously. So I'm hoping that she'll have a bit more vocal coaching and practice by that point to really give it 100%. Otherwise, it could dive bomb.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Phil, Michelle, as I said, this song, it was one of the first that was announced 6 weeks ago now. We've had a lot come since, and this was the first major people talking about a contender to win. Do we still think that can happen? There's a lot's come out since, a lot of crazy, a lot of loud songs, but do we think this still has the appeal to a mass audience on the night to get through its semi-final and then get a very good result in the final?
Well, first of all, I think it's definitely going to qualify. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't. I mean, it's a good stomper of a song, isn't it? You know, it's a good rousing anthem almost. But there's so many other good, varied songs. And quite a lot of them are in this semi-final as well.
I think it's old-fashioned. Are we not sick of seeing Nordic sort of Viking-y type warrior queen people going along to this tune? I'm sort of fed up of him now. I've had enough of him. I don't think he's modern or by any means or anything like that. And I'm just fed up of it.
I don't know if if my sort of, I like this when I first heard it. I like a lot of other songs better now. And I'm not sure if that's just because I've heard this earlier than a lot of the other songs. And so to some extent, any novelty's worn off. But it is, I think I agree with you. It is a little bit dated, maybe. I don't know.
There's nothing fresh and new or contemporary about it at all. And I think it's not a divisive song either. It's like a everyone can nod their head along to it. It's quite pleasant. But I think to be able to do well at Eurovision, you need something a bit divisive that'll make people vote. I think this just might get middle of the road lost.
But I think it'll still qualify.
Yeah, it's going to qualify.
Okay, Sean, let's come to you. As you said, is that the main drawback of Queen of Kings? Is it just a bit too run of the mill, a bit one note, a bit predictable as a song? Because we know Alexandra can sing it very well, and I have high expectations for the song. But is it maybe just a bit too, for lack of a better word, generic?
We've seen it all before, haven't we? We really have. People are going to hate me because I know how popular this song is with the fandom and whatnot, but I hate it. I don't like it at all. I'm really, really sorry. I hate everything about it. It sounds like she's gasping when she's trying to sing. I don't know. I know that she won a national final and whatnot or whatever, but when I was with Donna last weekend and we saw her perform this live, she can't sing it. You know, she really struggled to sing it live. I'm not saying she can't sing. She really struggled last week to sing this live. She spoke through most of it, to be honest. She spoke the lyrics out. And then, because she only had the one song to sing, the crowd were going like, they wanted to, do it again or whatever they all chanted. So she sung it a second time, and then she really, really struggled that second time. I think if Jeanette was here, she'd be saying, well, she won't be saying this, sorry. I'd take Jeanette's catchphrase from her and say it's dog shit. It's the third from the bottom for me this year. I'm sorry. Out the whole pack, the third from the bottom for me. But yeah, I'm really sorry. And I know that, it probably will do well, but I just don't like it one bit. I'm sorry. It's just one of those things.
Well, I'm going to go with that polar opposite thing, and I think this actually has the potential to be a winner in May. I know we said this last year about Subwoofer. I didn't see that winning at all, and where they finished is where I predicted, because Subwoofer was all novelty, and I'm sorry, Ben and Galta could not sing that song properly. You could hear it; they struggled, and yeah, wasn't a fan of it. This, I understand why people don't like it. I understand last week she was having a bit of fun, but we saw an MGP. And she said she didn't use any autotune. That has been confirmed. When her game faces on, she has to. She can nail it, and she did. I think she's a young, powerful woman with a very catchy song. People I've spoke to who said they've heard the Norwegian song, they really like it. And I think it's just because although it is simple, it's got that bouncing, repetitive melody which gets stuck in your head. And at the end of the day, that's what you need. I do see this maybe not winning the semi-final because it's just a televote only. But in the final, I sense this having one of the 37 this year with the strongest jury and televote appeals to get it to win. I don't think it could maybe win either camp, but like Jamala, I think it'll be one where there's such a disparity between other songs that this one will just get second in both and then potentially take the win. There's not a lot to really knock off this song if she sings it well. As I say, it's got 25 million streams on Spotify. It's third in the fans, but behind Sweden and Finland. And I think to a first-time audience, this has got the most marketable appeal. I'm not saying she will win, but I think at the minute she's the one I think who's got the most potential to win. But like I said, that could all change when we get to Liverpool and we see the stagings and everything, and I don't think her staging will change. So it's really a case of she set the bar, other people now need to beat it, and I do think she's going to be very hard to beat, to be honest. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan of it when I first heard it, but in the final, she absolutely smashed it. So when she needs to, she can deliver. And I think that's the telling thing. She can deliver when she needs to. Tom, let's come to you. Obviously, we spoke in depth about MGP when it was running for the 4 weeks. What are your thoughts on the song 6 weeks after her victory, and what are the chat room saying about Alessandra?
Oh, I think the chat room are really positive about Alessandra. Although I think Dan said here, yeah, if she sings it badly, sadly, it won't qualify. I might disagree with that, but I mean, the reception in the chat room really is normally quite positive. Again, another outlier there. David saying Norway is very overrated, but the finish is some kind of same placement as Subwoofer. I mean, let's face it, this is a song that has been around for about, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. It's gone viral on TikTok. It's got millions of views. There are people out there that are going to vote for this on the basis of the fact that they've already heard it and they're already familiar with the song, which I think stands it in good stead. Obviously, I was present at the Melfest after party last weekend. I heard her sing it. And to be perfectly honest, I think she was having a bit of fun because let's face it, what do you do with an audience that basically keeps shouting, one more time at you, which is basically how she ended up singing it about 3 times anyway. Of course, you're going to have some fun with it because you don't want to knack your vocal cords out as well. Also, the crowd was singing the song back at her, which is a sign, I think, of its popularity. I think if you take all of those factors into consideration, this is a song that is going to do very well, whether you like it or loathe it. There will be songs out there that people loathe throughout this that are going to do well, and people at the end are just going to go, nah. And there's going to be songs out there that people love. I think it's a good song, especially when you play it in comparison to Clara Hammerstrom's Run to the Hills. Different story, I know. But do you know what? Good song. It's gone viral. This is going to do very well. Is it going to win? I don't know. I think we've got enough evidence to suggest that I think things are going to be a bit close up at the top of the scoreboard this year. And that could be anyone's guess. And let's face it, Eurovision is at its most interesting when we have a televote winner, a jury vote winner, and then the winner. So let's wait and see.
Yeah. And like Ben said last week, you don't necessarily have to win Eurovision or do well at Eurovision to be classed as the winner. As we saw with Rosalind, she literally got the worst result Amina's ever had in the final, and she's had the most success out of anyone since the contest, which is bizarre to think about. I will just say in the last point, if the producers think Alessandra can win, they'll play a very smart tactic and she'll open the semi-final based on she did it in MGP and did it well. And that way, when you open, you can be put anywhere in a pimp slot, whether you're drawn first or second half in the semi-final, because you can say, well, she opened, she wasn't given a prime slot, so they can use it again. My example being Robin Benson in 2017, where he opened the semi-final and then was put song 23, the prime spot in the final. So they think she can win, she'll open the semi-final so they can put her in a prime spot in the final. But that's just my theory. But yeah, I do think she is one to watch this year. But like I said, it all depends how she performs in the semi-final and the final. Now we're going to move on. We've only got 3 left.
We need to do the thumbs up, thumbs down thing.
We do. Well, I think we kind of spoke about it, right? Is Alessandra going to make the final? Yes or no? 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Yeah. It kind of felt like that was a formality at that point.
She will, but I don't want her to.
Meanwhile, we've got Malta, Croatia, and Ireland left. Who's it going to be? Oh, sweet Jesus, it's Croatia. Right, let's just rip the bandage off then, shall we? Croatia. Let 3 with Mama Sh. Probably the most interesting song to win a national final this year. Let 3 are an established band from the 80s. They entered Dora, and the fact their televote alone beat second place's jury and televote combined score kind of shows how big of a deal they are in Croatia. I am going to have to start with this because I just have to. The song itself is all the bad things of a batshit song. Like, I know people are saying, like, this is why we shouldn't have televote only semi-finals because we're going back to this. No, I think this would have happened regardless if the jury was still here. I think their score alone showed that Croatia wanted to send them because of who they are. I've got to say it, like, the song is... It's shite, I'm sorry. It's one of Molly's favourites this year. I think it ties for Boston with one other song. I just can't get into this. It's just a bit too bizarre and then it switches halfway through, but not in a good way. I feel like I've taken something halfway through the song, basically. I feel like I'm on a NASA trip. I'm going to be honest. It's more psychedelic and trippy than Sober by Laurel Barker. And that had fucking dancing cats on stage. Like... I can't make sense of this song. And my biggest thing, like, and I'm going to say is I don't see it qualifying. People are saying the televote will love it and it's going to qualify. Get used to it now. The issue is that despite it being bonkers and it's switching halfway through and becoming almost a different song, is we have another song in the semi-final that does this and does it better in Finland. And Finland are in the second half. So anything that unique is about Croatia, Finland just does better. So... no, I do not see this going anywhere. If it does make the final, well done to them, but it will be my toilet break come the final because there's no way I can sit through that in the final, I think. I can't. I'm sorry. It's not good. It's not a good song. It might be true to them and they might be big in Croatia, but to a European audience, I don't get the appeal. I'm sorry. And I'm going to have to go to Phil and Michelle next because I know they'll have a different opinion because it's just the definition of batshit bonkers crazy Eurovision mess. So Phil and Michelle, over to you. I've said my piece.
I'll go first. I hate it. I absolutely loathe this song beyond belief. Everyone's listening to it on different sort of music platforms, but it comes on, makes no sense whatsoever. It's a visual thing that you need to be able to look at it for it not to make sense, but not to be as shit as it is. But if you listen to it on Spotify or anything, it's just shit. Shit.
Right, okay. Well, before I give my opinion of this song, I'm going to have a little bit of a rant about all the people who say it should be disqualified, because I think it absolutely should not be disqualified. There's nothing wrong with this song being in Eurovision. Okay, is it political? Was 1944 political? Might you see some bottom cheeks? Did you see some bottom cheeks when Chanel was performing? So, are we going to be ageist and sexist about whose bottom cheeks we should see?
Are we going to see your bottom cheeks at Eurovision?
Well, I wouldn't go to that, but there's always the award show coming up. In the meantime, yes, of course I like this song.
He loves it.
I love it. It's a piece of performance art. It's overwhelmingly the choice of the Croatian people to send to Eurovision, and I think it deserves a place just to give everyone who just likes the piano-friendly ballads or the dance floor-friendly bops a little bit of a kick up the backside and say, yes, there are other pieces and other types of music to listen to.
Phil's learnt all the words to this.
But it's not actually my favourite, but I do like it. Oh yeah.
No,
Well,
and we have political songs every year. It's nothing new. And like I said, Chanel was in basically nothing last year, and everyone was saying she was God's gift to Eurovision. I was like, it's a pretty girl in a bodysuit with some sparkles on it. Big wow. Like, if I want to see that, I'll go down to a drag show if I want to see that again. But like I said, say the song's political. Who cares? There's political songs every year in Eurovision. They're just a bit more direct about it. I have no issue with their message being in Eurovision or them. I just don't like the song. Like, that's it. I just do not like the song. Donna, we saw their performance in Dora, and they like not political. That's the wrong word. They're very, as Phil said, they're very visually alarming on stage, and this is, from what people have said, quite tame for them. Do we dare to think what they were planning or hoping to do on the stage in Liverpool?
There's no telling. I mean, if we've had people sneaking Palestinian messages and things into their outfits, that would be nothing for them. Yeah, I'm just hoping that see-through pants don't come into this. You know, a quick flash here or there, given maybe they could do that with the help of lighting as well. Just, you know, I've seen it occasionally where you get nude scenes and then the lighting guys kind of cover it, so they blind you with light. There might be options to do something like that. Who knows? I don't know if they will plan it in secret and then unleash something on the day. You just never know. And they might even wait till they qualify and then unleash something on the world in the final. So who knows? I mean, they will be obviously aware that it's a family-friendly show and there's only so far you can push it within those boundaries. So I'm hoping that they'll behave a little bit more than they are known for. But they've already got quite a bonkers performance, and I don't think they're going to change their staging at this point. If it's anything, it'll be down to the costume. But let's wait and see.
Indeed. Matt, let's come to you now. Obviously, Croatia, like Latvia, have quite a poor qualification record. They last qualified in 2017 with Jacques Hudek and his ballad to one another he did by himself. That will still forever be etched in my brain, as well as the broken cello during the final, and the bloke was still trying to play it with a broken bow. Like, that will forever live in my head. But obviously they've tried, like, say, with Franca, Albina, you know, different genres, and it hasn't worked. But with this being an only televote semi-final, and no jury to mark this down, can you see this sneaking like 9th or 10th just because of the sheer bonkersness of it and people going, I want that in the final? Can you see this sneaking through?
See, this song, it's so bad, but then I'm thinking it's almost so bad that it could be quite good. And I think that if this was like in the UK on the X Factor, I can imagine people like voting it straight through just to like annoy like Simon Cowell, the judge. Yeah, usually I'd say no because I think it's a very tough semi. But if they are popular in Croatia, then yeah, I guess it could be a complete shock and that they could qualify. But this is terrible. I think if it does go through to the final, I think it'll be dead last. This for me is my very bottom song. I just think it's just so weird, and yeah, I just think it's awful.
Okay, so Sean, it's coming to you because even in Eurovision fans, it's not even ranked last in the semi-final or the overall 29th and 13th in the semi. So people still think this has a slight chance. And as we said earlier, the qualification rate for the semi-final is 66%. It's 2/3 of these songs are going to go through. Like I said, is there a slight chance? Is this possible? Like, and then
of course it's possible. It's Eurovision. Of course it's possible. There's only 5 acts from semi-1 going home. The other 10 go through. They just need to show a bit of nudity and that'll get the public vote, I'm sure. I think that's probably what it's going to boil down to because the song's shite. It really is. I mean, it just starts off completely bizarre and then you get shouted at for 2 minutes. Now, if I wanted to be shouted at for 2 minutes, I'd just ring my mother. Do you know what I mean? It's just, this has got no place for me on the Eurovision stage or in my eardrums. It is the bottom of the pile for me this year completely. But I can see it sneaking through because, like you say, there's only 5 going on from semi-1.
Like I said, it's my joint. I'm holding fire in that because the song, which is my bottom at the minute, is currently being revamped and we haven't heard the version yet. And yes, it is San Marino because those lyrics are beyond diabolical. Donna will share the pain of having to sit through that final with me and that winning. Tom, you've got a bit of a, I'm not going to say smug face, but like you're thinking or something here. So I'm a bit worried about what you're going to say about Let 3. So just
I
go
was trying
for it
to
because-
think of a comparable benchmark. And
Let's
I
expect.
think I found my comparable benchmark, which you have to go back to 2004 for, and it's Piero and the Music Stars Celebrate, which, as you remember, in a total televote semi-final came out with 0. That's 0. And I would like to award it the Tom Hughes Award for contender most likely to get 0 points this year. Oh my God, it's just like a really bad novelty act, isn't it? I don't like it. I can't see anything. I mean, someone in the chat room, and I'm so sorry, Tristan, but this is what makes it great, isn't it? It's the diversity of opinion that, you know, Tristan says sneaking through top 3 for sure in the semi. I'm not sure we're listening to the right. Are we listening to the same song?
I think Scandinavia's got that locked out, to be fair, when we look at that semi-final.
And also, Thomas says there is something catchy about it, and there is. But Piero and the Music Stars also had something to catchy about it, wasn't it? It's like, celebrate, let's celebrate, celebrate, let's celebrate, have a wonderful time. Yeah, catchy doesn't mean points, you know? And I think, well, I think that's where we'll leave it, shall we? It's a no from me.
I'm just going to say, like, I think this got like selected like shortly after the televote only semi-finals got announced. And when I saw this performance, I just thought, oh God, why is this giving me vibes of Let Us Step from Estonia in 2008? That's where my brain went. Like the sheer bonkersness of it was Let Us Step. And I was like, and I haven't seen something like this since Let Us Step. That being said, that didn't qualify either. Neither did Dustin the Turkey, which is also just as batshit. So there is a market for this, but also I hope in the modern day contest, some people just let it stay in the semi-final. Again, nothing against them, but in a competitor sense, this song is just no. No, I'm sorry. And I know this as fans, and Tristan is one of them. And I love that people do appreciate and enjoy this song. It's not for me. It might do LC. And see, no, but LC United was fun. The melody was actually quite catchy and bouncy. This is just a bit droning for the first minute and a half, and then it goes psychedelic, and I'm just a bit lost and confused and scared. I need an adult. Oh wait, I am the adult. Shit.
This is the kind of psychedelia on stage we wanted from Circus Mercus last year, but we never got. If Circus Mercus had done this weird kind of staging like they've put, you might have got a good song. But otherwise, no.
Well, I don't know. Circus Mercus still had little puppets in the box, which I enjoyed. That was cute. That made me laugh and smile. But gonna ask the panel. I think I know which way we're gonna vote. Will this make the final? 3, 2, 1, go. So it's a whitewash of no's. So this could we're either Mystic Meg, or this clip will come back and bite us badly in a month's time.
You know that Phil's gonna vote for this for every moment of his little phone bill will handle.
I just can't believe that
the UK
song.
aren't voting in semi-final.
I would say the UK have no power in the semi-final, thankfully.
I just can't believe that song won a national final. It's just bizarre. I mean,
VPN.
But Sean, like I said, they have been around since 1987. They've won countless awards in Croatia. They were the biggest name, and I think people went on the name of the nation of the acts instead of the song. To be honest, I think that's how they won it, and we see that happen a lot in the Balkan regions. That is normally what happens. But we are done with Croatia. Good luck to them. God knows what will happen in a month's time. We have 2 left, Ireland and Malta, and I'm going to spin the wheel one more time just because it's fun. Look at it go, having a lovely time.
This is enthralling.
Shut up. This is fun. And it's Malta. So
we're going to keep saying this is fun.
Yes. Because we're all going to have fun and like it.
Oh, it's compulsory fun.
The best kind of
Great
fun.
whether you like it or not.
I'm thinking if I say it enough times, I'll believe it myself. Anyway, Malta, they'll be going with the busker, with the Dance Our Own Party, won Malta Eurovision Song Contest, the 40-song mammoth selection. Now, everyone who knows me knows I love Malta. I always do in Eurovision. But did we need 40 songs in their selection? No. Did we need a semi-final of 24? Again, no. I think we could have done with a final of 10 because there's probably about 12 or 10 I would have happily just had. And the top 5 were the only 5 realistically who could have won and gone to Eurovision. So yeah, Malta, maybe refine your selection slightly. And this is coming from a diehard of your nation. But I digress. The busker, they came joint second in the jury and then stormed the televote to a very comprehensive victory. They slightly revamped their song, 3-man band. Phil, Michelle, let's come to you. This is quite funky. It's quite jazzy. A lot of elements in there. What do you make of this?
I'm going to thump her in my jumper.
I'm feeling Mardy, me cardy. Yeah. By the way, I read the lyrics and it's fogged up. Fogged.
Yeah.
Even though it sounds like he's dropping the F-bomb, apparently he's not.
It's fogged
Fogged
up.
up.
Who thought it? Nobody knows the words, Phil, only you.
Well, I only looked him up because I thought, did he just say that what I thought he said?
And he did do it in that voice as well.
Yeah, because I always do. Yeah, it's all right. It's a nice bop. It's
I love
okay.
it. I love it.
Yeah, it's good.
Feeling better in my sweater. It's
Yeah.
got catchy, nice little. It reminds me. Oh, do you know what it reminds me of? You know that bloke the other year who did the backflip with the backpack on. It's got that sort of.
Nicholas Joseph.
Oh, cheers! It's got that sort of vibe about it, and and there's not many songs that I remember, quite frankly, from Eurovision. I try and block a lot of them out. I think this is really catchy. I love it. I think it's really
it's
catchy.
good. It's good.
Yeah, we're all going to be dancing to this, but not in a sweater because I'm right hot, so I'll do it in a t-shirt.
Brilliant, thank you. So Matt, I'll come to you. Obviously, this is definitely something very different from Malta. We're used to them sending a woman for a start. This is the first non-female soloist since 2014 and Firelight. And also, like, they don't normally send this something that's sort of funky disco, I want to say, but going, like, say, from the national final, they're clearly a very seasoned trio and they clearly are very strong performers. And given, obviously, this is a televote only semi-final, as I keep saying, and this sort of like energy with a live arena, do you think that will transmit through the TV and actually get people to vote this through to the final?
I think this is a good song, but I just think they're in such a tough semi, and I think that in this semi, you have to be not just good but brilliant. And I think this song, for me, it's good, but I just think, is it good enough? And I just think it's really borderline. I think if there's a bit of a revamp, then yeah, it could qualify, but it's just it's right in the middle for me. And at the moment, I think that if it doesn't improve, I don't think it will qualify. I think because it's just such a tough semi, yeah, it is a good song. But for me, I think with Malta, I think with their internal selections, they seem to be sending better songs, I think. And yeah, if I was in charge of Malta, I'd go back to that instead, I think.
Okay, thank you. Don, let's come to you. As you said, a lot of people saying they're not sure this will qualify. And obviously in previous years, apart from Destiny, when they have qualified, or even if they haven't, they've normally qualified on the jury score and the televotes knocked them out. Do you think that is the biggest fallback? I mean, they've got Italy in the semi-final, which is something, but do you still see this as a maybe yes, maybe no for the busker?
I don't know. It's not one of the most dynamic on stage, but it does have, as people have quite rightly said, the saxophone, which definitely will make it sound different to most of the stuff that's there. It is a really tough semi-final. Honestly, I don't think I want any of them to go home. Not really. I would have liked them all spread out a little bit, or some in semi-final too. But it could be a bit of a difficult one. It's a bit repetitive, but it's a fun song, and it could have a bit of a Sunstroke project about it. You know, if they play it just right, that fun element of it could get them through to the semi-final. But I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Sean, let's come to you. As you said, like, they're very energetic performers. Dav, the lead singer, he did the X Factor Malta back in 2020. So in a sense was in the national final because that's when they selected for Eurovision, and Destiny went and won it. So he's used to live TV and live performing. What can they do in Liverpool, though, to get themselves into this final? Because they said Malta, they always struggle, but this song has a lot of promise and it's very dynamic, and it stands out in this semi-final. I say they're sort of like jazz up tempo. But how can it get over the finishing line?
I think just the camaraderie on stage, how they perform together, that will come across, and I think that will win people over as well as the song. I love it. I absolutely love this song. I feel better in my sweater. It's funky, it's dancey, it's a bit jazzy. I like the whole idea of the song, which is kind of like it starts off on a night out and he's getting anxious about being out, and he's clock watching, wants to take the part inside. And there's one of my favorite lyrics in any of this year's songs. In this song, it's "I got some indoor shoes I can offer you," which I just love it. I love that line. I got some indoor shoes I can offer you. Bonus points for me for the saxophone. There's 5 things that get bonus points from me in a Eurovision song. One of them's a double clap. One of them's the disco boo-boo-boos that you sometimes hear in tracks. Whistling, that's one. A glockenspiel, that's one. But saxophone is another one as well. And this has got it in abundance. It's great. It's funky. It's dancey. It's addictive. It's in my top 10 this year overall, and I think it's going to qualify. I love it.
Brilliant. I'm just going to jump in, and I'm not saying this from a Malta lover standpoint, but I do love the song because it is different, and it's also different for Malta. I can't remember the last time they sent anything with this sort of like Motown jazz funk sound to it, and I think it works phenomenally. I think the 3 of them work very well. I love, like I said, it builds as an act. They start off at home, then they're in the car, and then they're out. I love how in the instrumental break they change, so from these quite drab sweaters to then one's been covered in rhinestones and sparkles and whatnot. I think it's a whole performance on stage, and it's a whole story. I also love, like in the LED, they have like these little 8-bit characters running around. I just think there's elements of this which are just nice little touches, and I think are brilliant. And the music video is a lot of fun, has a lot of money put into it, so it's making me hopeful for the staging. All I hope is that they get a good running slot, and that gets them through, because I think this song deserves a spot in the final. I love it. It's great fun. It's catchy, and I will be bopping around like an absolute Looney Tune to it in the Euro Club and the Eurovillage at Liverpool. I don't care. If they ask me if I want to dance, the answer is yes, Dav. Anytime, please. Cheers. Tom, round this out for us. What do you think of the busker, and will you be dancing at their party?
Do you know what? This is where I miss a live orchestra, Elliot, because do you know what? What it would really need is something like this.
Oh no! Well,
Sorry,
let that cat out.
I just could not resist. That's what springs to mind. You chuck a saxophone in it, I'm always going to think of 1991 with the off-key saxophone. Obviously, Malta won't do that, mainly because it will be a backing track and the saxophonist would have been auto-tuned by that point anyway. But aside from that totally irrelevant point, do you know what? I quite like it. Decent track, lot to like about it, bit jazzy in places. Certainly an improvement on last year's. Sorry, Emma Musker. But do you know what? Lot to like about it. And I can see this qualifying. It might only squeak through, but do you know what? Squeak it will. Probably in about 8th or 9th place. It's never going to set the scoreboard light in the actual final. But it'd be nice to see Malta in the final for a change. It feels like they've been MIA for too long.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tom. And what are the chat room saying? Are they in agreement or disagreement with ourselves? Like I said, a lot of people seem to be unsure about this song's success come May, sadly.
Well, someone said, Dan said it's not Malta's finest moment. Trying to like it, but it's difficult. Little John finds it irritating. Martin reckons it's Michael Ben David vocals meet Blasmathian. Blasmathian, for those uneducated, were the saxophonist act in MGP in Norway last year. What have we got? Malta has a catchy instrumental part, but the rest, meh. And I think me and Tristan are just poles apart because, you know, by far the best of MESC, but, you know, it's in his overall bottom three. Only Cyprus and San Marino are worse. So a variety of opinions. And WIVM reckons this will be one of the 5 that will be left behind. There's nothing different about the song. It is just pop. Is it bad? No. Is it good? No. It's just a song. And as Alexander Rybak would say, that's how you write a song. And look what happened to that.
Yeah, it won its semi-final.
And
I mean, it tanked in the final, but it won its semi-final. And like I said, I think it is different in the grandscape of its semi-final. It's the only one with a jazz hook, and it's the only one that has up-tempo jazz funk in there and Motown. And that is what will make it stand out. And it's fun. And who doesn't want to have fun at Eurovision? But panel, will Malta be in the final? 3, 2, 1, cast your vote now. Oh, Matt's going no, but the rest of us, and Donna is on the fence. So it's another one like Latvia. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Could be a case that they cancel each other out. Actually, they could be 10th and 11th. Oh, no. And there's only one country left. Do we still spin the wheel? I'm going to open it up to the floor. Do we...
Yes.
Spin the wheel!
Well, we need to
crowd.
get excited.
The crowd want the wheel.
I wonder who it could be. I'm
I've got a
very
5-1
excited.
Portugal.
Oh wow! It's going to be Ireland. Is it? Yeah. It's
San
Ireland.
Marino, no.
Oh, no.
So it is Ireland. Yes. Wild Youth competing with the song We Are One in Eurosong 2023. They won that selection show. And the weirdest national final format I have ever seen. I know this is every year about Ireland, but the fact that they paused to then talk about peanut butter and everyone got a jar of it and took home with it. And my friend, who Aaron Sibley, who I think is watching, who wrote a song in that fun and was there, still has the jar of peanut butter in his home in London as a little souvenir from his time in Dublin. And I thought they were joking. And they said, everyone got it. I was like, nope, I have still got it. I was just like, wow. But Wild Youth, this is a band that was set up in 2016. They have been highly rumoured to compete for Eurovision for countless years. I think every year since they've really broke out, even when it's internal, they were a rumoured actor on the wish list of many Irish Eurovision fans. They won selection. They're off. It's been revamped slightly. Yeah, I'll start off this one. Ireland. I think you picked the biggest name and not the best song again. The fact the international jury put this second, I'm not going to say made it obvious, saying this wasn't the right song, but when the internationals disagree with the Irish and you need to appeal to the international in May, I think you missed the trick there. The song isn't bad. It's just the beigest form of bland, in my opinion. It's just one note. It's everything we've heard before, like we are one, we are this, we are that. And listen to their discography, you can tell they put a Swedish producer on this, because this, even just in their discography, for me, is just their weakest entry. It just feels like this was wrote purely for Eurovision, constructed for that, and that's not the way to go. I do think this is something Wild Youth want to do for a while, because I remember a few years ago, Conor Donahue has actually put out a tweet, the lead vocalist, saying like, let me write Eurovision, the next Eurovision entry for Ireland. Well, now he's done that. But I just think this wasn't the right song to send. And it's just going to fade in a semi-final, unfortunately. This is a song I see being put second and just forgotten about by the time the phone line's open, unfortunately. Sorry, Ireland. I want to enjoy this, but for me, this wasn't the right song. And I would have been happy with 3 of your 6 going, and this wasn't one of them. Sadly, I feel bad now. But if I'm going to be honest, I see this coming last again, just because there's not enough about it to stand out to make people vote for it. To be honest, yeah, I don't even have it as borderline. I think it's just a straight no, unfortunately. Phil, Michelle, let's come to you. Please say you're going to be a bit more positive than myself, because I can't even pretend.
Well,
No.
the thing is, this is semi-final one. It's generally regarded as the semi-final from hell, because there are so many good songs. And you look on social media, and everyone's arguing about, is this going to qualify? Is that going to qualify? They disagree about every song, apart from this one, because everyone thinks it's not going to qualify because it's too ordinary.
Has anybody seen any talk anywhere about Ireland? There's nothing. It's absolute radio silence. There's nothing. It's middle of the road, just middle of the road tat.
The problem is, it's not a terrible song, but as you said, it's like somebody listened to like all the Eurovision songs from the 1980s onwards and said, right, I'm going to write a typical Eurovision song, and they've got a typical Eurovision song from the 1980s. It could be from any year.
I don't know. It was a weird national final as well. It was like it was an internal selection dressed up as a national final. And then when that young lass that came second almost won, you could almost hear the panic of like the people, because they've gone, right, mate, this group, you're definitely through. What, we're just going to have to do this to make it look like the public want you.
Because they had like a panel sort of discussing the songs, and you could tell they all wanted this to win, and they were talking down every song apart from this one.
It was it was really, really weird, but it's just bland, and they just seemed over enthusiastic. We're trying to sort of sell it to us, and it wasn't working. There's just something not right about it. And why are they wearing those stupid hoods in the videos? Is it even them? Could they even be bothered to turn up? How do we know? This is definitely going to go for a wee / get the drinks in.
Oh dear. Donna, let's come to you next. So as I said, on the Eurovision scoreboard app this morning, this is ranked 14th out of 15 in the semi-final. Only Azerbaijan is below it, and I think that's because people are still upset about Azerbaijan and what they did last year. Honestly, is there any way this song can stand out in May to qualify in the semi-final?
I'd like to say yes, but I'm not sure. Maybe by being as ordinary as possible, it's going to stand out more, if that makes sense. Because we've actually got so much stuff visually that are going to be out competing each other for the wacky brigade. Actually, just doing a straightforward presentation with, you'd love it to be live performances, but just presenting themselves as a band might actually do it some favours. It's not a bad song. It's very listenable. And again, it's one of these almost radio-friendly ones that do sadly drift into existence. But it'll be on everybody's playlist. They won't skip it because it's actually pretty good. I think my notes did say it was more Stock Aitken and Waterman does U2. But, I don't mind that era, and I'm quite used to listening to the Irish charts. So for me, this is one I will keep on my playlist. But as for anything that will be outstanding for it, maybe they've just got to do the best presentation as possible, keep it as basic as possible, really, and just go for it.
Thank you, Donna. Matt, let's come to you. Is that what I need to, or is that their problem, that it's just too generic, one note, ordinary? Like I said, we're just saying these very inoffensive words, and I think that's the only way I can describe the song. It's it's inoffensive, but inoffensive gets you nowhere, because that's what the UK did for years, and that's when we were in our era of getting 20-second at a push. And obviously Ireland, people have done the maths. They are one of the worst qualifiers in the last 10 years, statistically. So it's not been a good run for RTE. But what can they do? Is there anything wrong? I don't want to be negative, but I'm struggling here.
I think if Ireland want to do well this year, they just need to change the song, but it's too late now. So I just think Ireland, they seem to have given up on Eurovision about 20 years ago. I think if they really care about Eurovision, they need to get someone new in. I think they could do what the UK's done, get someone outside of RTE to like a record company, someone who knows what they're doing, to send a good song. I think RT needs to put in a lot more money, but this is just so dull. It's so dated. It's so boring. Like Phil and Michelle said, I thought the music video is just strange. I just feel like Ireland are just so tired, and yeah, I just feel like they gave up years ago. And I think this could be bottom last. I think they're in such a tough semi, and I think Ireland are going to get absolutely annihilated in this semi, I think.
Oh yeah. So Sean, let's come to you. As I alluded earlier, they have statistically got the worst qualification record since 2013. They've only qualified once in that time frame, which is Rhino Shaughnessy. There are 3 bands alone in this half, which we spoke about. Is there anything, and I'm not just saying this really for Ireland, but also like for the Irish Eurovision fans, who are say quite a dedicated lot, especially on social media and whatnot, and they really want to do well, and we want them to do well. And they had some really good selection choices in their selection. Like I said, Connolly, for example, with her, as no people called it, Lana Del Rey, but it was at least that was different. Is it a case of Ireland are just scared to push out of their comfort zone, and they need someone outside of the broadcaster to almost like say force them into out of their comfort zone like the UK did?
Song, it's getting a hard rap, and I actually really quite like it. The thing is, the Eurovision Song Contest exists because it was designed to bring Europe together through a friendly song competition. It was to unite us, and this song was inspired by bringing Europe together. And actually, I think there's a real place for that in time. And you might say, well, anyway, I think it is a good song. I think it's really memorable. I think it's easy to sing. Everyone in the arena will be going, "We are one." It's my 6th favourite in this semi. I think, despite what a lot of people think about it, I think it'll do quite well, and I think it might qualify. I think it's the best song Ireland have sent in recent times since Jedward.
So when you sit and realise which was their last top 10, that's where I panic.
I know it's like 12 years ago or something, maybe. But I do like this song, and I hope it really does well in Liverpool, because I think there's a place.
Thank you, Sean. Like I said, my point is really come from, as much as say it is a thing about uniting music, and that's what I do love about Eurovision, is that at the end of the day, it's also a competition, and songs do need to go home. So you need to find that balance of showcasing yourself, but also it is a competition at the end of the day. You don't get a trophy for participating. That's just life, isn't it? Can you tell I've grown up in a competitive background my entire life? Tom, rounds out, because something that's really interesting for me, especially with Ireland, is that their comparison between Junior Eurovision and Eurovision. So, for example, they just got their best result in December with Sophie Lennon in Junior, and she sang in Gaelic, was unwell, and still got 4th. And that's a huge result. And a lot of people, myself included, thought this could be turning the tide for them. And now we get this, and we're back. It's almost like it feels like the same sort of story about Ireland. It's like, are they trying? Do they care? What's happening? Is maybe the solution that they let TG4 take over and they send the song in Gaelic, or what? Because they seem to have cracked Junior, but what is stopping them in Eurovision?
I don't think Radio Telefis Éireann are going to give up that easily. Do you know what? I'm going to kind of think about what Sean said a bit, and also think about the lyrics of this song and draw a comparison for you, because obviously we might be different, we might be unique, you might be a leader, I might be a freak, and we might be different, but under the falling sun, tonight we are one. And I think there's a lot of meaning in that song, and I think if you get the staging right of that song, you're going to inspire people to vote for it. Now, the question is, are RTE going to go out there with the staging and actually get the staging right on it? Because let's be brutal here, Ryan O'Shaughnessy together. I mean, let's face it, when we listened to that song 5 years ago, none of us rated it in any way, shape or form whatsoever. Maybe
I
you
did,
but
I was the one who said
Yeah.
it could qualify because I loved it. And I was feeling quite, yes, Michelle, do that. I was smug when it got through because I said it stood a chance.
But, you know, your music taste isn't necessarily indicative of Europe. But
What's that time?
what got
The one time.
but what got Ryan O'Shaughnessy's song over the line was the staging at the end of the day and the ability to appeal to the audience by translating the lyrics on stage for them. Now, there's going to be massive LED screens around the stadium in Liverpool. There's going to be, obviously, the band on stage. And I think there is potential, if they get the staging right, that they can inspire people to have a party. And I think it could qualify. Yes, it is a tough semi-final, but I think through the simplicity of the lyrics, but perhaps more focus on the staging, this could actually chuck itself over the line and be a surprise qualifier in semi-final one. And I think there is a good argument for it based on the lyrics, because as Sean said, I think it's the type of, let's face it, the type of lyrics us Euro fans will sing to, normally not whilst sober, but we will sing along to them at a very loud volume. Now, as for whether you think TG4 should take over the contest, I mean, there's been lots of speculation about whether ITV or Channel 4 should take over the contest in the UK, given the UK's bad results. But let's face it, the BBC aren't quitters, are they? And I suspect neither is RTE. And I think they're more likely to try and find a different way around their selection process, perhaps when they feel like they want to host the show again, you know, in order to actually motivate it more. I wouldn't write them off yet. Let's put it that way. I think we need to be more optimistic. I think we need to be glass half full, because tonight we are one. I thank you.
Well,
no, the
some would
weather.
say. And what a lovely note to end on. Like I said, we are all just fans giving our opinion, but that is the beauty of this contest and this channel. All opinions are welcome. And look, we all could be horrifically wrong come May, and I welcome it. World Youth, prove us wrong, make the final. You know, I'm not ashamed to eat my words. If you do put on a good stage show and get through, I'm not going to be upset about it. It is a tough semi-final, but as we have said, unfortunately, not everyone can be in the final. And I know some would say, why can't we have 37 in the final? Because that would be a nightmare. Eurovision, the final, overruns as it is with 26 songs. Let's not add another half an hour on there. Like, I will be asleep on the floor by that point. Well, just to round this out, do we see Ireland making the final? 3, 2, 1, yes or no? Stake your claim now. Oh, so you get 2 on the fence, 4 no's, and a yes. So quite a split. To be fair, it's not the lowest ranked song of the night, to be honest. So we did have a few yeses in there. So there is positivity here, which is a nice way to end it. But as I said, that's all 6 for this evening. We will be back next week talking about some of the other songs in the semi-final. I believe we'll do Portugal and then a few from the second half of semi-final 1.
I think the whole of the second half.
Are we really going to fit 8 songs?
Gonna
8
be
songs.
bold, gonna be brave, gonna strap ourselves in.
What if I knew that? We would have just done 7 and 8 instead of 6 and 9, wouldn't we? Someone's got the maths wrong here.
I blame host.
No, I blame the one who wasn't here, who made the decision earlier in the week, which we went along with.
Who could that be? I don't know who you're talking about.
Right, the name
Where is
escapes
Stu
me
this week, by the way?
Oh, the professionalism.
Professional as ever.
I think the term is Ginger Jesus, by the way.
Sure, there's a t-shirt waiting for that.
I could see Ireland doing that as their next song next year.
What Ginger Jesus?
Yeah.
Dolly Style tribute act.
Oh no.
It's my t-shirt ideas page.
And Donna, I'm just going to say, when did I ever say we were professional? The fact we get interviews and people would speak to us and we get accreditation still blows my mind. It's like, have they seen what we said?
That is very true. That is very true.
But I want to thank everyone who's come along this evening. I want to thank everyone who's been commenting. It's been great. As I said, these are just our opinions. Everyone's is valid. And if we are wrong, Tom will no doubt be clipping them to embarrass us and use it as blackmail in future episodes to come, no doubt. And
I
he
don't know
likes
what
to
you're on
do-
about. I don't know what you're on about. I've never ever clipped a clip to embarrass people. I just use their words, but I never clip.
Is that because you don't know how to?
Oh no, I know how to. It's time, darling.
And on that note, I also want to thank my panel for this evening before I just get booted out of my own show. I want to say a big thank you to Phil and Michelle coming on last minute to give their always fantastic opinions. I love you both so much.
I'm punching kittens, Emma Matins.
Well, thanks very much. Thanks. See you, everyone.
I want to say a big thank you to Matt from ESC Bubble. Thank you for joining us once again.
Nice to see you guys.
A big thank you to Sean. I look forward to the shirt design of Ginger Jesus coming out soon.
I'll show it on this show next week if I'm invited back.
I think you're in just for that, the anticipation.
Oh, well, there you go. Winning.
And a big thank you to Donna as well.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun as always.
And I know we take the book out of it. It's all in love. A big thank you to my co-host and the one looking after the chat room this evening. Big thank you to Son.
And a big thank you to you as well, Elliot. It's been a great show. Lots of laughter, lots of humour. I mean, let's face it, these songs, the show writes itself, doesn't it? So it's brilliant. And we're back next week.
We are same time, same place. Maybe doing 6 songs, maybe doing 9 songs. We'll discuss that off air and sort that out later. We'll see. That's all I'm going to say. But until next time, I want to say a big thanks to everyone that's come and watched. We do really appreciate it and love you all. But until next Sunday, we'll let you all have a lovely week. And bye-bye for now.